This is Support is Sexy, episode 542, with project manager and strategist, Lucy Cantley. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And today's guest is Lucy Cantley. And Lucy is a project manager and strategist who works with several entrepreneurs. And she focuses really on women entrepreneurs and helping them grow their business in a strategic way, really by creating multiple streams of income. That's something, if you're like me, that we think about. What are the ways that we can have active income? So things that we're very active in our business, and other ways that we can have passive income, and thinking about ways that align with what we're doing. That's always my thing. There's plenty of ways to make money out there. That's not what it's all about for me. What are the ways that align with what I'm doing, the business I'm creating, the vision that I have, the mission that I have of really being of service to women entrepreneurs? So Lucy and I talk about that, and she talks about what it means to scale your products and systems in your business. Also, something very important to me too, how to serve many to one. So not necessarily doing one-on-one forever, unless that's what you want to do. But is there a way? Well, there is a way. What is the way, I should say, of being able to serve many to one? Also, how do you know what other streams to launch first? That's always my thing. What do you do first in your business when you're considering multiple things? And what online courses can do for your business? You might be someone who's thinking about online courses as well. Well, what is the real reason to do a course? Obviously, you want to share information, but a lot of people have courses as part of their business. Might it make sense for you? Lucy and I talk about that, as well as some tools and resources you might want to consider to help you automate in your business and do things much more efficiently, because that's what we're about too, right? Don't want to go crazy doing this. You want to make the most sense of your time and your resources. So again, you can serve as many people as possible. All right, so I know you're going to enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, Lucy Cantley. So Lucy, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So our first question, when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
So I wouldn't say that it was like a love at first sight thing. It was kind of something that I gravitated towards over time. My mom was an entrepreneur. So I grew up seeing her work on her own business, and she actually worked from home, which was really nice. As a kid, you know, my mom was just really present and around. And, you know, although there were times that we had childcare or camp or, you know, and we were at the house at school, it was still really nice just like having her around and having her have the ability to be flexible and like show up when stuff happened or if we had an event in the middle of the day. So I loved that. And that kind of planted the seed for me of, wow, it's really cool being able to work from home. And then by the time that I was about like 16 in England, where I grew up, school is a bit different and you actually start specializing subjects once you're sort of at age 16. So at that point, I decided that I wanted to start honing in my focus towards business topics.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of business did your mom have when you were growing up?
She was a chartered accountant, which is like the English equivalent of a CPA.
Okay.
And that actually led to her being the financial director or CFO of a couple of startups. So it started with her just like freelancing and doing the accounting thing. But over time, she developed relationships with other entrepreneurs, and they really needed somebody with that financial mindset in their organization. And so she helped launch their businesses.
Now, when you were younger, before you turned 16, when you were younger and seeing your mom be able to be, like you said, home, even though you went to camp and different kinds of things, but your mom seemed like she was very present. Did you notice a difference between how present your mom was and how maybe the moms of the other kids who were working 9 to 5 or whatever the time is in England, jobs, day-to-day jobs were different? Or were you not aware of that then?
I'm not sure that I was aware of it, but as a kid, you just don't necessarily think that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I never noticed my mom not being around, it was just like never an issue. It wasn't something that I put much thought into.
It was just normal for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So at 16, then when you said you started specializing in topics, you looked at business. So what was it? Were you influenced by your mom in choosing business, or were you just naturally drawn to it?
I think it was a combination of both. My mom always really encouraged me towards business. And I was really curious, and I had this feeling of like, I really want to start my own business one day. And so the best place to start when you're 16 is to study business. So that's what I did. I did like business studies, economics, media studies, accounting, topics like that to just sort of develop a bit more focus and experiment and find out what really caught my interest. And then I went on to get a degree in actually music and entertainment industry management, which was my rebellious way of saying, I don't want to do a traditional business management degree. I want to go do something a little bit more fun. Thinking, it'd be really cool to be like a band manager. It would be really, really fun to work with people who are rock stars, artists, and manage them and help them grow their career.
Hi, puppy.
Sorry, I have a crazy deaf dog. That's yeah, it was a nightmare because
you can sense something's going on.
Yeah, and you can't just like yell at her, like, can you be quiet? You have to sort of wave frantically at the dog and be like, please stop barking.
That's adorable.
So that was kind of like a vision. And actually lately I had this sort of epiphany and was like, hold up, I am a rock star manager. Like I've come full circle, like in a less traditional way, but the entrepreneurs that I'm working with are rock stars in their own way. They're artists and they have their unique skill set. And I help them do that. I help them be rock stars. And so I was like, wow, this makes me feel so much better about this full circle of this degree that I really wanted to do. And then after I graduated, I was like, what am I going to do with this?
Now, how long was it before you found this sort of this enlightened moment of, you know what, I am actually doing that with helping these entrepreneurs. You help a lot of women entrepreneurs, especially, right?
I'm not joking. This happened like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, there you go. It's good. It's fine, Lucy. It's fine. So after school, then did you go into other kinds of career before you came to start the business that you have now as a strategist and project manager?
Yes, but my story actually kind of took a bit of a less than direct route. I actually met my now husband. He's active duty Air Force and he was stationed in England. And we met before I went to college and dated while I was at college. And halfway through, he had to move back to the US. So I was in a long distance relationship and it got to the point after graduating that I knew that I wanted to be with him and marry him. And so that involved me emigrating to the US and doing the whole green card process and citizenship process. And that kind of turned my world upside down a little bit, moving to a foreign country, leaving my family behind, starting a new family. And because of the way green cards work, there were several months that I couldn't legally work in the US. So that kind of gave me some time to think about what I wanted to do. But because he's military, I was in Panama City, Florida, which is a tourist town. And there's not really many big corporate employers and there's not many entrepreneurs out there. And so I ended up feeling really lost for a while and not really sure how to take my degree and turn that into a career.
And what I knew I wanted to start around. Sorry to interrupt. To get a sense of.
No worries. This was 2011.
Okay, so it wasn't like online entrepreneurship. Definitely wasn't as big and well known as it is now.
Yeah, and I just when you're in your own little bubble, I just wasn't aware of it. Which now, with hindsight, I look back and think, God, if I'd only known, I could have spent so much time, building this thing that I love instead of having this kind of roller coaster experience with corporate and working jobs and thinking, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. Something's off here. I'm not happy. But then, even with hindsight, I still think, I needed that experience. I needed that struggle to get to where I am today.
Yeah, it all filters, at least I find with most experiences, there's something from it that you bring into the work that you do today that you're very passionate about.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you do today as a strategist and project manager, as we mentioned, for women entrepreneurs especially. How did you evolve into that and sort of eventually discover your zone of genius?
Sure. So shortly after my daughter was born, I knew that now was the time that I wanted to start my own business. I had graduated with my MBA from UNLV. I was ready to start something new. And I sat down and thought, like, what are my skills and what am I good at and what do I want to build a business out of? And I felt incredibly gravitated towards the operational side of business. It's just the way my brain works. And so I initially branded myself as a business sidekick, knowing that things like director of operation or COO weren't really terms and titles that my audience was using. But I very much envisioned myself as coming in and being this right-hand person to the entrepreneur, the boss, and helping them actually take their ideas and implement them. And over the course of my business, that has sort of evolved. And now I do describe myself as a strategist and project manager. I absolutely love to strategize, plan, and consult. So just getting on the phone with somebody and being able to analyze their business and figure out how things can be better and build that plan with them is a part of my business that I absolutely love. But the difference with me as well is that I really like to see people get results, and I have a really hard time separating from the implementation side of things as well. So when I work with my clients, it's very kind of like white glove experience. I only work with a couple of people at any given time because I like to get really involved in their business and help them implement the plans that we've made together.
Now, when you work with them, is it that they pay you or on a retainer kind of monthly basis, or do you do a per project kind of package, or how does it usually work?
It's month to month. Most projects that I'm working on are really big, meaty projects. And so it can take several months to get things, a month to get the ball rolling and implementing everything, launching a product. And I build really close relationships with my clients. So often, even though we finish the initial project, they still want to keep me on board, working with them on either new projects or tweaking and refining, whether it's like a course, a program, a membership, and just doing that kind of post-launch tweaking.
And this is different than being an executive assistant, because you're actually doing strategy work. You're not just being told what to do and then executing, right? Because some people might get it confused.
Absolutely. This is very different from an executive assistant. I am coming in and building the plans and telling my clients what needs to happen instead of them telling me what needs to happen and me then going and doing it for them.
Mm-hmm. Which we should say, though, executive assistant is a very important position. I'm just making a distinction, right? They're very necessary. Just making a distinction. Your doggy agrees.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I definitely love having executive assistants or virtual assistants on board in my clients' teams, because you need those people who are there helping you get things done. Like a business can't just be all planning. It has to be doing too.
That's right.
But that's my key difference is I'm not coming in just to take things off my client's plate. I'm there with them, building the plan and guiding them and supporting them through the process. I always view like my perfect clients are really, really good at their unique skill, but might struggle with some of the business elements and actually taking that skill set they have and monetizing it. And so that's where I'm coming in and saying, okay, like you've got this awesome expertise, so you're really good at this. Like, how can we scale that idea and make you more money and make you successful?
Now let's talk a little bit about that. I'm glad you went there. Great transition into you helping your clients in particular learn how to scale and add revenue streams to their businesses, which is an area of expertise for you. So why are both of those things important? Mainly, I'm asking for women who don't necessarily think of themselves as having even a multi-million-dollar business, but $1 billion business sometimes. And I ask that because sometimes people hear scale and they think Facebook or Google or what that, it has to look a certain way and be this huge company when it, I'll let you define what you mean by that scaling and adding revenue streams.
Yeah. And I love this question because before I started my business, I was working with tech startups and venture capital firms where it was all about scaling big and scaling fast. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that mentality because it was, throwing coal on the fire and like burn, burn, burn. And it just didn't feel sustainable. And I've gone kind of full circle and come and found this like middle ground that I really love when we're talking about scalability. And so when I'm talking about scalability, I'm talking about being able to do more with your business, work smarter, not harder. When you're a solopreneur, it's really hard to get to this place where you're making like when we're talking about like 6-figure businesses, I think that people can get to this really comfortable place where they're making 5 figures. But getting to that 6-figure gets hard when you don't have scalable systems in place, when you don't have scalable products in place. And you're limiting yourself as a business owner, and you're going to burn out because often entrepreneurs' main source of income is a service-based thing. So they're trading time for money. So I'm coming in and I'm taking, especially service-based business owners, people who are providing a one-on-one service that is really awesome, but they're struggling to make the big bucks. And we figure out a way to build products and offers and incorporate those into their business model so that they can serve more people. And it's not just about scaling your revenue and just making more money. It's about being able to serve more people. Most of my clients are just frustrated because they're like, I really want to help all of these people and they need different levels of support. And what am I supposed to do? So when I come in, like we like to break it down and sort of like map out where their customers are at and what their needs are and what types of services and packages or products best serve those people so that my clients can serve more people. And a result of that is more money.
Right. And by more people, do you also look at how to not just have your clients who might, like you said, mostly be in service-based businesses. So oftentimes that's one-to-one or one-on-one, as opposed to figuring out a way. This is something I've been talking about a lot lately, how to be one-to-many. So setting up programs or things where a lot of people can partake in it at once, or doing a video that goes to, hundreds or thousands of people as opposed to you just doing one-on-one.
Exactly. And a lot of people use the term passive income. I tend to avoid using that term because I don't view income as passive. I like the term scalable because, essentially it's saying like, I love being able to develop things that are almost passive. Like if you can build a course and have systems in place that mean that people find you, enter your funnel, buy your offers, and want to just hang out with you, and you don't have to sit there and do calls or individually nurture people, that is awesome. And that is totally scalable.
What about people who, the women entrepreneurs listening, and a few good men, I always have to say that, but the women entrepreneurs listening who might feel like they would be sacrificing something by doing a one-to-many model or courses or things that are more open to everyone as opposed to one-on-one, if doing one-on-one kind of service has been quote unquote their thing.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I think it's a mindset shift. Sometimes people don't want one-on-one service, or they're not willing to pay the price that comes with that white glove one-on-one experience. And so I think that you can still develop offers that create an amazing experience for your customer and delivers a lot of value without it coming with the price tag or with the sacrifice of your time. And when I'm working with my clients on developing those offers, I really like to focus on experience. This isn't just about creating something and just like throwing it at your customers. Like it's a case of taking them on a journey and really nurturing them. And there's a lot of ways that you can still do that and show the love and provide value, create that amazing experience so that your customers don't feel like they're missing out.
And this is something that for everyone listening, solopreneurs can do. This isn't, you're working with people who don't necessarily have huge teams, even if they have an assistant or a virtual assistant, but you're not talking about entrepreneurs who already have a big team in place. You're really helping those people who have smaller businesses.
Oh, yeah. And most of my clients, if they have a virtual assistant or executive assistant, they're not even working full time with them. Their teams are still very small. That's why I really love working with women who are solopreneurs who have small businesses and are getting ready to scale, because it's very approachable. And I love this. I love that women get to build a business, provide for themselves, have that flexibility, and really be successful, but they get to own their own success.
Right. Do it their way. I feel like you can customize so much now, especially with online, all the online tools and different things that we have. It doesn't have to look one way.
Exactly. You don't need to have a massive team of people. You don't need to have a brick and mortar store or a fancy office building. Like, you can do this in your pajamas from home.
Tell us more about that, Lucy. You know, we want to hear that. So I know some of the things you help your clients do, in particular, add courses and programs, also memberships are some of the options that you discuss with your clients. So how do we know what to work on first? Do you base it on what most people are looking for at the time, or do you base it on that particular entrepreneur that you're working with? What's the first step to figuring out which way we go?
Sure. So I tend to look at each of my clients like individual business model, because I don't believe in one size fits all. And I think that's a problem in the space where there are a lot of courses out there. Like, this is becoming a very noisy space. And a lot of people default to this, oh, well, I'm a service-based business. To scale my business, I need to build a course. So they try build a course, and then they may or may not have success with that. I think you have to sort of take a bigger picture look at your business model and your audience and what their needs are and the best way to deliver information to them. So courses I view as very self-paced for the most part. You're giving them information, videos, slides, documents, and teaching them something. Programs I tend to view as being something a little bit more robust and tending to have a little bit more interaction. So I often think of like group coaching programs, or a more timed pace course, but with like some consulting involved in it. So often you'll see somebody's like, well, here's this course, but there's going to be a Facebook group and I'm going to do coaching calls or live Q&A. And that creates a bit more of a program experience. And then memberships, it tends to be more bite-sized nuggets of information over time.
Now, the programs usually have a start and an end date. So someone will say, you know, this is the program for the summer or for whatever certain amount of time between we open this date and have an end date.
Yeah.
Okay. And then memberships, you said, are small bites over time.
Yeah. So that tends to be when you have a lot of information to share and a lot of content to share, but you want to sort of drip it to people over time. There's so many different ways that you can run a membership, but essentially people are paying either a monthly or an annual fee to get to hang out with you and consume your content.
Now with memberships, because I have the Support is Sexy Mastermind, which I love all the ladies in there. That is a membership group, a monthly subscription, and people get content each week over until, and then also consultations in our Facebook group, which I'm starting to do much more regularly now. Do you think there are key components of, first of all, let me say, Lucy, I ask selfish questions sometimes, and I always am very honest about selfish questions. So everybody already knows she's coming with a selfish question. So there that is. But do you think, in your expertise with memberships, that there is a way that you find works better than other ways as far as delivering content or engagement with your audience? Or again, is that very much a customized thing?
I think it's a customized thing. What I'm noticing is you've always got to be very transparent and very clear on the value exchange. A couple of my clients are actually getting ready to launch memberships at the moment, and I see the struggle of wanting to deliver all the things and provide tons of value, but I have to catch them at some point and be like, well, people are paying this much. So you don't want to provide, $100 worth of value when they're paying $30 a month. Because that's not fair to you, and that's potentially going to overwhelm them as well. I think sometimes we get stuck in this place where we want to just keep delivering content to our audience more and more and more, but that creates overwhelm. And actually being able to draw that line and be like, here's value, this is fair value, this is great value, but like that's it, like consume this content, go and implement this, instead of like providing all the things. I think it's just like the one thing with memberships that I just really, really love to see is just creating a really amazing experience for your audience. I've participated in, and I've seen and I've heard about memberships where people just can end up feeling a bit kind of left high and dry, and they don't get the awesome experience. And the challenge you're always going to have with memberships is having people drop off. People won't renew month to month. Yeah. And so the more you can create an amazing experience, the less churn you're going to have, and the more success your membership is going to have.
And when you say experience, you mean beyond the content, you mean your actual, whatever your level of engagement is with your audience?
Yeah. And that can take various forms, even from a like systems and automated interaction. Like sometimes, so when I'm working with people, we always start with like onboarding. Like, how are you onboarding your audience? Because that's the first interaction that they're going to have with you after giving you money. And it's so important because you've taken them in this journey. They've been on your sales page. They've completed checkout. That's a pretty intense experience often. And then they're ready and to consume information. They're ready to find out what's next. And if you don't create that experience for them, there's a risk that they're going to be disappointed. And you don't want the first emotion that your customer has to be disappointment. So I always work with my clients on creating some automated systems in place to make sure that whatever time of day or night that a customer comes to them and signs up for their membership, that they're at least getting onboarded correctly and that experience is starting on the right foot. But there's a lot of ways to just kind of interact with your audience and make them just feel special. Like, we're all human. We just want to be made to feel special. Whether that's individually welcoming people to the membership, sending them a Bonjour video, tagging them in a Facebook post.
I was just waiting for you. I swear I was listening, but I was thinking two things I wanted to share based on what you said. I'm so with you. Bonjour, everyone. I will make sure I link to it. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but when I heard about it on Pat Flynn's podcast, he was interviewing the owners. I was like, this is a brilliant idea. And that is how I welcome people into the mastermind membership. So for everyone who isn't aware of it, again, I'll link to it. But Bonjour is this amazing service that lets you send a personalized video to whoever signs up for. I do it for my email list too, but for your membership or whatever kind of product, you can personalize a message to people, and it makes people have literally emailed back like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said my name." Like they said at first they thought it was just going to be, this general welcome. So such a great way to have a personal touch, even though some part of it is automated, as you were speaking about before.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it that you mentioned, or the other thing I want to make sure everyone catches that you mentioned, and I'll speak from personal experience. When I first started my membership, I didn't have anything that went out to people right away. As you said, where there's people sign up at all different times, and you're not going to be awake to send an email right away or always available to do whatever you have to do right away. You don't want to wait a week for someone to hear from you. So I've set up an automated email that goes out right away that says, of course, welcome to the group, but this is also what you're getting. So people feel right away that, oh, I signed up, I'm getting information. Whether they check it right away or not, it's there for them to see what they'll get, how they access the Facebook group, how they do everything. I've received that from other groups that I've joined, and it makes me feel so much better. Whatever that psychological thing is, you already know the information, but just seeing it like, oh, okay, they responded. Everything's good. This is what I do to move to the next step.
It makes you feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Exactly. So now what would you say, or why would you say courses are something that people should consider? Because I know you have on your website about reasons that courses should be a part of your business.
Yeah. So
online courses. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that courses are such an amazing way to deliver value to people. And when we're talking about like a bigger picture business model, I think that courses allow people to get to know you, to learn from you without this like necessarily high level investment. Now, courses come in all different sizes, shapes, forms, prices. I really like building courses that are sort of under the $200 mark, especially, versus something that becomes like a really big, meaty, like signature course program thing that would be more than $200.
Now, under 200, you mean like 197 or 97, or is there a spot?
I'm going to say generally under 200. I think pricing is such a funny thing. The fact that people gravitate and they'll price their thing at 97 or 197, and there is no scientific reason why there should be.
I know there should never. Well, I've read other people say that there's a reason, but it's just it's a thing.
No. I was looking at. I did some serious research into this because I was so curious, and there is no
scientific reason.
There's no scientific reason. It's just so somebody started doing it, and then everyone started doing it, and now it's become like the only psychological reason now is this social conditioning element where we're so used to seeing 197 now.
That's so funny. When I used to work at magazines, if you look now, everyone will notice when you look at magazine covers, especially fashion magazines, 197 ways to do such and such, 57 ways or whatever the different number is, but it's rarely, if ever, an even number. And that's just, again, like I said, it's probably not scientific, but you just don't do that on magazines. It always has to be a random number to catch attention.
Yeah. Well, and 20 years ago, it was 99. Like that was the thing.
Right. Not 199, right?
Yeah. So I don't know why it's sevens. So I always encourage my clients of like, don't feel like it has to be this number that everyone else, like you see a lot, 27, 47, 97, 147, 197, etc. And so often my clients end up feeling like they have to fit into these kind of like social norms of pricing. And I kind of just, I call them out on it sometimes. And I'm just like, look, you do like, it's more about the value than it is about what everyone else is doing. So yeah.
So for online courses, do a course under $200 that provides value, but not too overwhelming where it's some huge signature product of yours.
And one of the challenges with courses is that people buy courses and then they don't finish them. And so going into course creation with that in mind, you want to be able to deliver value and deliver results. And so creating a course that isn't too big, creating something that allows people to learn a skill and implement that skill and get success from that without it being this like overwhelming, oh God, I've got to find 10 hours to go and sit down and do this course so that I can learn this thing to implement it. That's a real sweet spot. And I love people using courses as an introductory product. And maybe that course teaches somebody something valuable, and then they come to you later and say like, hey, I learned so much from your course, but really I want to start working together one-on-one and do this on a sort of higher level.
Someone I interviewed recently, Kendrick Shope, hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, from Authentic Selling. She mentioned to the importance of being focused. So sort of like what you're saying, not trying to put everything into your course, but if you're going to teach something, have it be a focus point of whatever the course is. And then, as you said, there might be other things or even another product or something else that gives more extensive information. But this way you're offering something to people, they can get this you can deliver on what you've promised without trying to give a semester of content. You can deliver on what you promised and then can always lead into other things.
Yes, exactly. And like, just because you could teach it doesn't mean you should teach it.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
So, but courses are really just awesome. Like you do the work once, you nurture your audience, it becomes a signature part of your offer. You get known for your course. It helps you scale your business. I think that there's so many different things that each of us has the power to teach and teach in our own unique way. And that's something really special. And that's why courses are blowing up.
And courses versus versus, I just drew a blank. I'm sorry. Webinars or master classes or workshops, et cetera. Do you think what's the difference? Should people look at one over the other?
Yeah. So I view webinars as free lead magnets. So it's a way for you to encourage people to show up, deliver value to them, give them some information. But while they're there, you get to tell them about what's next. And that next is often a paid thing. Like I never go into a webinar and don't get pitched something. So that's kind of webinar. A masterclass or a workshop, I view as more bite-sized than a course usually. Courses I view as like multiple modules. A workshop I see as more of like one module.
Okay.
You're teaching one thing. Normally it's an hour or so.
Courses might be over a certain number of days or something, or even if not days, a person can look at it all at once. But like you said, it might be several modules as opposed to this hour. We're going to talk about this.
And the workshops and masterclasses that I've been part of that I have enjoyed the most they're live. And two, there's interaction. So I get to ask questions. Maybe we're actually building something or working through a problem live during the workshop. So there is a time and place where, you look at the thing you want to teach and you say, well, do I need that live element? Do I need to be able to interact with people? Do I need to hear their unique experiences to then guide them through the solution? Or is it pretty cookie cutter and can I create a course that applies to more people?
Now, what would you say about quizzes? Because I know you also are an advocate of free quizzes as part of your business.
Yes. So I've recently got hooked on quizzes. This was something, we can't do all the things all at once. And so I just didn't have the brain space to think about quizzes. And then finally sat down and was like, okay, let me think about this. And I love it. So I use a tool called Interact for quizzes, and recently created my own quiz that helps people figure out whether or not now is the right time to build a course. And as I was building this quiz for my own business, I was really thinking through how valuable this can be for lots of people. So the power of a quiz is that you get to ask questions to your audience, and then based on the way they answer those questions, guide them on a journey that leads them to an answer. It's a funnel, essentially, but you're getting all of this data and all of this information along the way.
So it's like a survey in a fun way.
Yeah. But I don't think people go into quizzes expecting that. And then when they get to the end and they're like, oh my God, it's like they're speaking directly to me. It's so easy to be able to create that experience for your customer using a quiz. They feel great. You provide them with a customized thing. So for example, like my quiz is now the right time to create your course. I'm essentially getting them to the end and saying, no, it's not the right time, but here's a resource that can help you start to get closer to it being ready. Like you haven't thought about this, and this, and here's information to get you there.
Oh, right. So at the end of the quiz, it's not just, that's why it's not like just a survey where you're getting answers and that's it. Thank you very much. You're giving them a result of their quiz, right? Of which way. Okay, got it.
And so you're really guiding them to a resource. And if you use a quiz the right way, you can use it as part of your funnel and guide them to the most relevant resource for their needs. And you can be helpful. Instead of them not being sure where they're at, what they need, you say here, just do this quiz, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need. Wham, bam.
Now you said the tool that you use is called Interact?
Interact. So it's tryinteract.com.
Okay.
It is a really robust tool. I love that you can, it integrates really well with email tools as well. So you can do some pretty crazy things with it, like tag people based on how they respond to not just all of the questions and what their result ends up being, but individual questions. So if they identify a pain point through one of these questions, you could tag them with that pain point and then send them an email and be like, hey, I know you're struggling with this thing.
So it helps you, what's the word? Not section, but, I can't think of the word right now, but be able to section people off into different areas based on their needs.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, that can get really intense and you have to question whether you want to spend the time doing that. But like for me, I've got like, depending on the result that my audience gets to at the end of my quiz, I'm going to send them an email that addresses where they're at. And
segment is the word. Sorry. Segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because not everyone's going to be ready for your offers. And so the way I view it is that you're able to, segment people, say like, okay, this person is not my ideal client. This person could be my ideal client, but they need a bit of work. And I've got a resource that can help them overcome that challenge and sort of step into the role of my ideal client. And wow, this is my dreamie. This is a person I would love to work with. And like, how can I deliver value and nurture this person so that they want to work with me?
Now, when you do segment, are those emails still automated?
Yes.
That go out to, okay. So it's not like you have to look through and see.
Yeah. So they complete the quiz, they get their result, they're pointed in the direction of a resource. But sometimes people don't want that resource and they're not quite ready for it immediately. And you have to nurture them a bit more. So the way I kind of do my email sequences is that I will elaborate on where they're at. So my example is, are you ready for your course? No, you're not ready. You're not quite ready. Or yes, you're ready. Speak to that experience, explain to them where they're at and what the next step is, and just provide value through emails. And then at the end of that sequence, over the course of a couple of emails, you can say like, hey, this is the resource you need. And like, I can tell whether or not they've got that resource. And if they get the resource, they skip through these emails and they don't get like two emails. So it's like, hey, you need this resource. And they're like thinking, wait, I've already got that. Like,
right. You can tell whether they clicked or not. That's great. What email service do you use?
I use ActiveCampaign. I love ActiveCampaign.
I've never heard of that one.
No? What do you use?
MailChimp.
Oh, God. Oh, you need ActiveCampaign.
ActiveCampaign. I'm writing it down. Everybody, let's get on ActiveCampaign.
Yeah,
I honestly never heard. Is it just activecampaign.com? Or if not, I'll look it up.
Yeah, it is. So things like MailChimp and MailerLite are they're okay for the beginner, basic. I would say.
Yeah. I'm noticing it doesn't have as many. No diss to MailChimp. I'm just saying, for me, there are things that I want to do. Either I can't figure it out or I don't think it's available.
Yeah. And MailChimp has changed over time, and they have added some new cool features, but I still think of it as a not very robust tool. So most people, I would say, like when they're sort of taking their email marketing up to the next level, are looking at things like ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign. I'm not a ConvertKit fan.
Okay. ConvertKit is one you tried it?
I've tried it. I've tried it with clients and I just don't like it. There are people out there who love it. I'm not one of them.
So what do you love then about ActiveCampaign? Not that we're doing a commercial for them, but people need to know these resources are so great. So thank you for this.
ActiveCampaign, I think, well, first, it's robust. So just the way I get to manage my contacts, the way I get to tag people, and then the really sweet spot is the automations. And when you're looking to scale your business and you're looking to add things that are almost passive to your business model, automations in your email management system are so crucial. And this can be everything from, just actually like creating an email sequence, but adding conditions. So for me, I can see where somebody's at and say, oh, this person has been through my get to know me sequence. So they already know who I am. And so I can skip them to this point. Or, oh, this person's new on my list. They haven't been nurtured a certain way. So I'm going to take a slightly longer route here and like send them a few more emails to make sure that they really know who I am, what I'm about, and what my offers are. You can track people depending on whether they've opened emails. So last time that I did a big launch, I set up my emails so that if they actually opened the prior email, the wording of my emails was slightly different. So it's like, hey, look, I know you read this email, so I'm not like introducing them to a brand new concept. I'm adding on to the last email. If they didn't open the email, then I sort of have to like take that more beginner perspective with this email and be like, hey, you might not have seen my last email. Like, here's the kind of Cliff Notes version of that, and here's some more information. It's just like those subtle differences and the power of like communicating with people in a way that feels really authentic.
Right. And feels customized to their experience. And like you said, where they are, as opposed to just, oh, she's just sending me the follow-up that she sends out.
No, and automation doesn't have to be like this ugly word and this way of like robotic thing where you're not taking care of your people. I think automation is a really powerful tool that allows you to serve more people. If you do it right and you create this amazing experience using automation tools, it just allows you to do so much more in your business.
Now, do you help your clients actually set up some of these things that we've talked about? So, their email sequences, their just all of the great things, all the great advice and things that you mentioned as tips. Do you actually help with that, with facilitating that as well?
So I am not a marketing pro, and I always like disclaim to my clients, like, I'm a very like strategic and logical person. I understand marketing, but it's not my passion. And so, I don't specialize in like email marketing and funnels, but it's an inherent part of building a course. And so I create a sort of very well-rounded experience for my clients when they're looking to add things to their business, or add scalable revenue to their business model. And part of that is going to be setting up the tech and getting emails in place. So for example, one of my clients just launched a new course, and we worked together to figure out what the promotional campaign would look like for that and the way that she was going to communicate to her list. And then we've set up automations for people, or an automated email sequence for people coming into our course so that they get nurtured. And the way I kind of view that is like, one, you've got to onboard them, then you've got to send them a few emails to kind of nurture them through the course. Remember, a lot of people buy courses and then don't complete them. So I think you need to sort of send them emails and be like, hey, you give them an incentive to get in the course and actually do the material. Remind them why they signed up and actually gave you money for this course. And then over a period of time, you want to automate other things like following up and telling them what's next. Like, should they get on a call with you? Should they hire you one-on-one? Should they just like follow you on social media? And then also asking them for feedback and asking them for a testimonial. Doesn't it suck when you're getting ready to like write a sales page and you know you need to put a testimonial in and you're like, damn it, I don't have any testimonials.
Right.
So like automate it, like include that in your email sequence, and just like remember to actually like ask people to give feedback.
I love the feedback halfway or partway through a course or anything. Again, selfishly thinking about this, anything that you're doing, just asking people what they think or how it's going. And sometimes we're afraid. We might be afraid for different reasons, which means we probably aren't confident in whatever we're doing. But, afraid to ask for that feedback. But I feel like you can learn so much, and then you can tweak based on real user feedback.
Yes. And that is so, so important. Like before you build a course, like get feedback from your audience on what they're struggling with. Like as you're building a course, like if you're like not sure about something, ask your audience. Do beta runs, do a beta run of your course, try pre-sell it. There's so many different ways that you can engage your audience and get feedback and build with them. That will help you create a better product. And your audience will feel super special because you value their opinion, and that makes them feel awesome.
So what would you say entrepreneurship has taught you about yourself as a woman?
It has taught me that I am very strong and capable. And I think with especially in like, this is why I love the name of your podcast, The Support is Sexy, because I think especially you can't be amazing at all of the things, but with the right support team, you can do anything. And I've learned this as a mom and as an entrepreneur. I'm very independent. I want to do things by myself, but I'm getting so much better as a person, just around asking for support and asking for help.
Remember, support is sexy, Lucy.
It feels really good to ask for help.
So what would you say your support network looks like?
So as an entrepreneur, my support network, I have a mastermind group that I absolutely love. Like if and you said you run a mastermind, which is awesome, because as an entrepreneur, if you're not in a mastermind, you should be.
Right.
I actually am reaching a point where I almost prefer masterminds over like working with a business coach, because I really like the group think element. So yeah, my mastermind group is amazing. I get to be really real and vulnerable with the group, and they help keep me on track. They hold me accountable. I also do have a business coach, and I have a mindset coach. They provide value in different ways. I absolutely adore my mindset coach, Valerie Friedlander. I think as an entrepreneur, our biggest struggle is like overcoming ourselves. Like we stand in our own way all the time. And so working with a mindset coach and having that constant interaction with her and being able to say like, I feel out of alignment here, I feel stuck here, and being able to work through those issues and get out of my own way is really powerful.
I've never heard of someone specifically focused on mindset.
Yeah. Oh my God. So much of entrepreneurship is mindset.
Right. Like, but I never heard of a coach focused just on that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's essentially like a life coach, but focuses like on mindset and works solely with entrepreneurs. So
Valerie Friedlander.
Valerie Friedlander of the Unlimited Mom. She works a lot with mom entrepreneurs, but not
I'll link to her website. Okay.
Yeah. And then I also just have like a tribe of people I've met through online groups and through conferences and local meetups who are just like cheering me on and connecting me to resources, and also becoming clients and customers. So that's especially one of the things that I really love about the online space, is that I get to connect with women all across the world who are going through very similar things as me, or are experiencing things that I can help with. And it's just really powerful.
So in closing, if you think over your life and career, and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be, and what would you say?
Oh, this is going to get me a bit emotional, actually. It would be my mom. As I said at the beginning, my mom was a crucial element to me, learning about entrepreneurship and learning about my options, and just having her cheering me on. And what I haven't mentioned is that my mom actually died of cancer 3 years ago.
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry.
It was awful, and she died at a really young age. And so she hasn't had the chance to know me as a mother and know me as an entrepreneur. But I know that she would be incredibly proud of what I've done and what I've built. So what I would say to her is, thank you for being the best example a girl could hope for.
That's beautiful. She sees you. I know she's proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, really tough, because there's so many things that I wish I could ask her as a mom and as an entrepreneur, and how she handled things and the way she approached things. And I wish I had her in my team, cheering me on. And she is very, very sorely missed.
Oh, now tell us the ways that we can support you. We are here to help you grow your business, help you find out more from you, all these great resources that you've given to us. I know people want to find out more. So tell us how we can support you. Website, social media, all that good stuff.
Sure. So you can find me at lucycantley.com. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/the Lucy Cantley. Instagram is just at Lucy Cantley. If you are curious about the quiz I mentioned, it's just lucycantley.com/quiz. I also have a bunch of resources on my website to support you if you're thinking about adding courses, programs, memberships to your business model. Best way to look at those is to go to lucycantley.com/resources.
Excellent. Lucy, thank you so much for sharing so generously. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, I have selfish questions, but hey, I'm sure everyone benefited from this, but it's so great to talk to someone who helps entrepreneurs do these kind of things that all of us are thinking about. And like you said, so much is floating around out there now of do webinars, do this, do that. You feel like you need to do all the things, but you kind of gave us some idea on not only how to execute the things, but how to choose, or even ask your audience maybe what area you should focus on. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, don't do all the things.
Don't do all the things. That's me. Always really maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. It's all over the place. Excellent. So before you go, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners about anything?
you know what? It's going to be that, like, don't do all the things. Don't feel like you have to do something just because somebody else is doing it in the space. That causes overwhelm and stress. Just pick one thing and feel really, really good about that one thing and do that one thing really, really well.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Lucy and got some ideas for things you might want to include and try in your business. To find out more about Lucy, to find out about her quiz, other ways to get in touch with her, resources mentioned in this episode, make sure you go to supportissexy.com, go to that search icon at the top, and just type in Lucy. Lucy. Her show notes page will pop up with links to all of those resources mentioned in this episode. Supportissexy.com and just search Lucy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. As I always say, it wouldn't be the same without you. Please make sure that we are connected on social media, especially on LinkedIn. I'm spending a lot more time there. If you reach out, tell me that you're reaching out after listening to the podcast, just so I know. Also on Instagram, I'm sharing a little bit about my journey with Remote Year, traveling to all these countries over the next few months. So make sure we're connected there as well. I would love to see you there. All right. Thank you again for listening. And until next time, always remember, support is sexy, and having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.